Okay, my dear friends, my first two sessions I have given in detail the learning theory. Hope you can listen to me. Hope you can see the shared screen. Are you?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, in my first two sessions, that is the first 2 to 4 and 5 to 7, I covered even the portions from MPC 3 with a specific purpose that without covering that, the development psychology's concepts like learning, etc., cognition, etc., you cannot understand the child cognition, etc., especially the Piaget's theory when I'm taking. Then I also covered the in utero life and ex utero life. So many students even called to me and told, "So why sir the science topics are being taught?" Yes, in utero life is the chemistry taking place in the mother's womb right from conception to birth. After that, ex utero, that is being taken today. I told you on that day, if you have to study the ex utero life, the master in ex utero life is in development psychology is Erik Erikson. So this I am covering today. It's so beautiful. But unless otherwise I taught you that portion, that is also there. Even many short questions are asked about embryo in utero development. So everything I had detailed. Then today, the first session, what I did is when the learning disability, learning issues of the children are coming, unless otherwise I teach you with practical, you cannot understand, grasp anything. So the last hours, what I did is the practical side of learning as with regard to a student, because a psychologist is facing a lot of clients, has to face lot of clients, especially the children are brought to the psychologist because of the behavioral issue as well as the academic issue. So behavioral issue we have related it with the whose theory? The theory of Pavlov. And the benefit, the motivation, negative as well as positive motivation, whether the motivation to be partial or continuous, everything we discussed on the first day with Skinnerian theory. Though all these theories, I repeat, are part of social psychology, your MPC 4 as well as MPC 1. But unless otherwise you have a base of this, you cannot grasp that. So I took that pain and did it. Today, the ex utero life, because we are studying science, not the layman talk that we require. We need science theory. So if you study, attend to this today's class alone, you would wonder the contributions in psychology. Okay, let us go to that. So in your own text material 1.2.1, this is as per the material that I have. After that, IGNO has may clubbed the books together. So at that time, I do not know what will be the point. So anyhow, the subheads will be the same. 1.2.1 in IGNO material, the goal of development is to enable people to adapt to the environment in which they live. Now, again, I repeat, each and every word, right from your MPC 1 to MPC 6 and the next year of the other three paper, and practice, each and every word is relevant. Because I asked you when I we discussed the practical part, even the word franchise, people didn't know, students didn't know the word of franchise. That is why he could not answer. And even a preposition, because these are very very important. The memory, without knowing the meaning, you cannot understand anything. That again, it's a practical in your first year. So you will appreciate at that time is in advance you could learn all this. So text knowledge alone is not enough. The practical knowledge also I shared. I'm covering almost 90% of the portion. So by next Friday's 2 hour class, I'll be covering everything. So I think now I can begin the thing. Many students have already entered. Okay, almost the same strength. Uh, Maybe others are not able to come. Uh, so the 1.2.1, the goal of development is to enable people to adapt to the environment in which they live. So this is a very, very important thing because adaptive intelligence or in the intelligence, Sternberg, actually when COVID came, I'm just deviating little because during COVID time, when many people even became jobless, committed suicide, ran away from the life, Sternberg again proposed, I mean, again highlighted his theory, and it came as an article. So IGNO earnestly took it as a practical, online practical, and I was a faculty for that also. So adaptive intelligence is the most important thing. It's a part of, without adaptation, intelligence can't work. So problem solving is a part of intelligence. Adaptation is still more important for intelligence. So please try to don't leave even a single word in psychology. You might like in preposition or the franchise. We proved that without understanding the word meaning, the practical also I have shown to you, without understanding the word meaning or the concept also we worked one figure 91854 when they were 9. Why that students got a wrong answer? Because the concept was not clear. So it's all very, very important. So it is written in 1.2.1, a pursuit towards, within brackets, self-actualization is essential to achieve these changes. Hope you are able to see the screen and my voice.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
A pursuit towards self-actualization is essential to achieve these changes. It plays an important role in mental health. Certain things I am reproducing. People who make good personal and social adjustment must have opportunities to express their interest and desires in ways that give them satisfaction, but at the same time conform to accepted standards. Again, the importance of word meaning. Don't look at the chat GPT or Google. Can anybody tell what is the meaning of conform? CONFORM? Tell me. Let that be a mistake.
Just fit in.
Agree.
No. That is CONFIR. My dear students, why I am taking that much interest in this is that without knowing the word meaning that we have proved several times, I'm proving once again. Conform means it's a condition of suitability, a matching, like an elbow of a water line, an elbow of water line, say 3/4 inch usual water line on the domestic supply, water supply. If it is not exactly fitting to the elbow, the pipeline, it won't match. So exact matching is called the conforming to accepted standards. So what is the accepted standard? So again, I'll be covering in the last class the Freudian theory of development psychology. At that time, he is using a particular word, sublimation, because conform to accepted standards of the society, Indian society differs from that of European society. So that is why even religious conditions, everything is very important. So I'll read it once again. So IGNO material is so beautiful. It is written like this. Self-actualization is essential to achieve these changes. Self-actualization, again, it's when you study MPC 3, you will come to know Carl Rogers theory. Again, Maslow's theory is there. So all these are important to know the different approach towards self-actualization. Very simple thing to self-actualization is you know your traits, your character. Very simple. You know your traits, what you are actually. Even if you are not able to disclose to others, you should accept your traits as it is to know what you are. And where you have to reach, that also you should have a name. In Indian conditions, we know many even at 30 year or 40 years, people do not know where they have to reach. So that's also very important. So what is your trait, where you have to reach, and where you have actually reached? When all the three matches, the self theory, that is a self theory of Carl Rogers that you will study in MPC 3. Okay, all teachers are equally good, they will do. Self actualization is essential to achieve these changes. It plays an important role in mental health. Otherwise, you will be depressed. People who make good personal and social adjustment must have opportunities to express their interest and desire in ways that give them satisfaction, but at the same time conform to accept it. You may have many wishes, but how you are forced to not conform to accept, matching to the accepted standards is a social health. Otherwise, anybody can do anything. So, what is the base behind it? How you can define it? That is Erickson's theory. Lack of these opportunities will result in frustrations and generally negative attitudes towards people and life in general. Let us see how beautifully, and without Erickson's development theory, psychology is nothing, in particular to development psychology. So we will study five development psychology in total in next two classes. So I have given all the bases. Now you can understand. Even these structures I have already told you. 0 to 1.5. Most of the time for examination this is asked. So if you can draw the column and the state, you will get full marks. 0 to 1.5 means trust versus mistrust, social support from symbiotic to individualization. Let us see what it is. Okay. Again, like in my other classes also, I was using a story-based teaching. So likewise, I'm telling you, see, 0 to 1.5, as mothers and as elder sisters, you know the life of a small child who was born. So by one quarter, by one quarter, the child start moving, and you also should appreciate the um, the benefit of psychology and studies in including providing maternity leave. See, actually, in as per labor law, whether it is used by it is applied, implemented in companies, that is not my parlance of speaking. My vision is that why the government has insisted the mother to have 6 months paid maternity leave and even another 6 months leave with the pay without breaking the service, without breaking the service benefits. So this is all contributed by this development theory. For example, 0 to 1.5. Your text may not be covering all this. You have learned autism. So this, from where that word has come, it has nothing to do with autism. Autistic phase is a condition. We have to refer many other books also. Autistic phase, not autism. Don't mistake. Autistic phase is a condition that by 3 months only, the eyes of the vision of the child is getting fixed. Even own mother, by sound, by smell, movement, etc., touching, etc., etc. The child, please mute. Somebody is, please mute. Without that, I cannot proceed the class. Please mute. Sorry, I cannot proceed the class otherwise. Mute. Somebody is not disturbing. Please mute. Okay. So the autistic phase is a condition that even child till 2.5, 3 months, the child won't be able to recognize the mother by vision, by sound, by touching, by smell, etc., etc. The child can understand his mother. Now, normally, earlier it was 3 month maternity period. Usually, before Please, somebody is disturbing. Why it is like that? Not using common sense. Very sorry. Ignore representative. Please see that that person is muting. I cannot proceed the class otherwise. Uh, so the thing is that a mother who is taking maternity leave maybe in advance also, 1 month advance also. By the time the mother is started going to, by the time the child is able to see the mother is moving for job and coming back in the evening. It's a usual case of employed people. So question is very simple, whether the child will develop trust or mistrust. Naturally, the child will have a mistrust. That is why now this is studies in development psychology, medical science. So the mother is given 6 months maternity leave and another 6 months with the pay, because till the child is able to understand better, move by his own, let the mother be with the child. That is the purpose. Now, there is another condition called by first year, by 1 year, it's called an before that, before one, till 6 months and all that, the child always is not able to move, is in the bed. So it's called symbiotic. What is symbiotic? Mutually beneficial. Symbiotic. Mutually beneficial. The warmth of the child is longed, is wished, desired by the mother, and the child also wish the warmth of the mother. So that is called the symbiotic relation. Though in Western countries and all that, separation is beginning even before that. When a child is always only within limited time, with the limited period, the child is allowed to, or expected to be with the mother. So that's another way of individuation. Individuation I'm talking now. So individuation is a condition. You just imagine, child is always even trying to walk. You just imagine. Then only you can know, understand the beauty of this theory. The child is holding the hands of the mother and moving around. So there is a moment that the child is able to stand on its own foot. Child is able to stand on its own foot. It is a new experience, fresh experience for the child, and different from the body of the mother. How beautiful it is! It is called individuation. It's called separation individuation phase. It's actually theory says, as you know, animals, because human beings also animal. So only thing is because we had the forebrain, imagination, etc., etc. We started family, etc., and many things. So in an individuation phase, what happens in the animals? You'd have learned the first fly of the 10th standard syllabus and all that. That means every bird, every cow, whoever gives birth, want the child to be independent immediately at the earliest. Here, the child is independent, but you are not allowing the child to be independent. So, trust versus mistrust. First, I told you the condition that the mother is not seen by the child is having a mistrust. Now, just imagine. See, I cannot explain the whole everyday development. So, in utero, I explained to you with the pictures, beautiful pictures. I have done it. At that time, 80 students were there. So even students send me messages, but I don't know why the students are not able to come. Maybe because of their limitation. So in utero life, in detail, I had worked. Ex utero, I'm explaining with theory and story and examples. So it's a condition that I cannot explain everyday development. So first 3 months, I told you the autistic phase, then the symbiotic phase by 6 months and all that. When the child started crawling and moving and stand on its own foot, and the moment the child is able to walk by its own, child understands an experience that my body is different from that of the mother. Then onwards, actually, you are supposed to give freedom to the child. Okay, you can definitely cuddle when the child is coming, child wish your presence and cuddling, touching, all this. But usually, it is better to give maximum freedom. Again, in the freedom, I'm asking you another example. By one quarter, the child is walking, even running. Child fell down and got some injury also. Since I don't have time to ask you, I'm asking question and answering. Injured, some blood has come. Naturally, mother start crying. Here you just imagine, here you just imagine, the child is having pain, child start crying, mother also start crying. By 1.5 and all that, if child is again falling down, you are not permitting the child to walk and play. You start scolding, giving small punishments. Now tell me whether child is getting mistrust or stressed. What do you say? Child is getting trust or mistrust?
Mistrust.
Mistrust.
Exactly. This way you study. I can't support in a offline online class with a limited time. So you when you study various topics, various wordings, how to nurture a child in trust. Trust. Now comes 1.5 to 3 autonomy versus self doubt. A child of 1.5 years is seeing a miraculous world in front of the child. New experiences. Child wanted to invent many things, do something of its own. Child want independence. You want a love? We want a love. So child is asking for autonomy. Best example, I'll tell you. The child want to play with the water, with the crayons. So when a mother, what you have to imagine 1.5 to 3. By before 3 year, the child is usually sent to play school, isn't it? So when a child is usually sent to play school, the child is grown to that level by third year. So from 1.5 year onwards, child will be walking. Child, whatever things child see, child want to experiment. So when a mother is writing letter, father is writing letter. Nowadays, everybody in front of the mobile, TV, etc. Naturally, the child wish to copy the parents. Tomorrow you blame the child for being with the TV or with mobile. But what child see? So that is a new generation. See, think about the old generation. They'll be writing something, maybe household things. Father may be drafting something or writing something, writing a letter. Child doesn't know. Just imagine. Child doesn't know what is a letter, what is the meaning of that letter, or why they are writing. The child certainly want to do the same thing. At that time, child will be scribbling on the wall, maybe on your important passport. It's a valuable document for you to travel back, even on the passport, or even the notes, or even many other valuable things kept, or much valuable 10,000 worth pictures that is hanging on the wall. The child is getting an opportunity, child will do everything. When you hold the child at your hips, the child may scribe something, or child may scribe on the walls. Child may wish to play with the water bottle, glasses. It may spill the water there, it may spoil the wall. What's wrong with the child? Did the child ask the parents to furnish the house with all these things, to paint it, spending lakhs? Here all you start punishing the child. Tell me, here the other one you asked, when I asked, you answered beautifully. Child will develop mistrust. Now, here autonomy versus self doubt. Will the child develop autonomy or self-doubt? Tell me.
Self-doubt.
Exactly, you are right.
Self-doubt.
You are listening to the class. This is what attention that I worked last class. So, with the practical sense, I wish to cover this by simply reading it and telling you of no use. So, now you decide trust and mistrust, where all the child can be brought up with trust, where all the child can be brought up with autonomy. Yes, there are limitations. I'm not saying because child should be taught in such a way after after 1.5 years when child is spoiling the wall and all that. Okay, earmark a place for the child. Earmark a wall inside the room somewhere. And when a visitor is coming, you appreciate the child in front of them. Yes, it's his creations. So the child do not know when child started appreciating even at 3 years birthday, the child may even scribe that on the car. There are trolls or videos on that. So that happens. It's because you. I'm not saying that you simply uh, pamper and spoil the child. No, that is not the thing. You should correct it. But for the small mistakes of a too the what do you say budding, the budding stage, if you start punishing instead of facilitating, you should facilitate positively. Then autonomy will work. Next is 3 to 6 initiative versus self doubt. Due to time limitation, I'm quoting only some examples. For example, a child by fourth year, you are sending to LKG. Certainly send some book, some notebook, one notebook, and some textbook with the pictures and all that. When you start covering the book, I'm just telling one example. You start covering the book, you start covering the that's why development psychology I cannot teach exactly with this. I have to connect it with many theory. That is the importance. So if I start working unit by unit, you cannot understand anything. So initiative and self-doubt, for example, you cover the book beautifully. Now the child is demanding, I want to cover my book. You say, no, 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 you will spoil the book, you will spoil the covering sheet, which I have purchased with money, with a lot of effort. I have got only 2 sheets to cover your 2 books. Don't do it. This is the problem. Child really wanted to accomplish something, wanted to take some initiative. You spoil all the initiatives of the child at the budding stage. So the child will be developing what?
A sense of guilt and inhibition.
Exactly, guilt. So you why the parents should be trained in counseling is always required for the parents, not for the children. See, here you have to understand when the child is taking such an initiative, why the parents are not allowing because child will spoil. And what is the reason? The reason that you will study in Piaget's theory, it is called, and also in cognitive psychology, it is called gross motor coordination versus fine motor coordination. Slowly only a child will be achieving fine motor coordination. This we will come to know because there are miracles within India. The children can be taught, trained for more fine motor coordination. If an example of fine motor coordination is that suppose a small child is trying to throw a stone at a particular and aiming at a particular spot, child will not be able to do it, even to a larger wall. That is called gross motor coordination. Fine motor is to the point. So you train better, you train the child. Okay. Now, industry versus inferiority. Here, it's a very, in fact, every concept is to be taught in such a beautiful way, but unfortunately, I won't be able to do it in a limited time. So, industry versus inferiority. 6 to 12. You have to imagine 6 to 12 in a different way. You be practical. You are all matured students, PG students. See, sixth year means first standard. 12th year means 6th standard. You take state syllabus, CBSE, ICSE, anywhere. You just go through the text. You'll come to know a child would be completing all necessary basics of grammar, whether it is being taught properly, whether the child is learning properly, that's different. Syllabus is covered in such a beautiful way that sixth standard, 6 years, first standard, and 12th year, sixth standard, all basic social, English, science, everything is beautifully covered. So naturally, the focus, because nowhere you can see this chart in your book. This is spread at many places of your material. So if you study in that way, you cannot club it. That is why I'm giving it a statement. It is available to you in as video, and naturally my number is also there in future with the permission of the only I will be able to share the slides also. No issue, because our purpose is to learn. Uh, so in the industry versus inferiority is that mastery of culturally and academically relevant skills. Mastery of culturally and academically relevant. How to behave in the society. 6 to 12, a child must master it because there are moral sciences, isn't it? Moral science is there in first standard onwards. How to brush your teeth, how to be neat, how to be hygienic, how to behave. All these things are being taught. You have to study this. And academically relevant skills. Last just 1.5 hours back, I gave you a test that is 19854 purposely because this is sequentially arranged. 19854, you know what happened. Many of the students did not get, most of the students did not get the correct answer. Why? Because mastery of academic relevant skills did not take place. Learning of the meaning, concepts, etc. So all this mastery should take place before 12 year. Why? You may doubt. Even I have not achieved. Many people are not achieving what this theory is telling. Theory is perfectly all right. Why? You just imagine now, then and there. Write 1 dash 0. Write 1 dash 0. Tell me where the teen comes. 13 to 19 only. So, I'm covering the portion in such a way that you have to study adolescence. So, if I'm talking about adolescence alone, no use. It will be boring to you. But I'm connecting with this theory. 6 to 12, after that, 12 to 18 it is said, or 13 to 19. So 13 to 19, you cannot see the teen anywhere in 1 to 100. Did you ever notice that? Anybody? The importance of this? This is called adolescence in your text. So what happens in the adolescence? We will see next slide. So understand, mastery of culturally and academically relevant skills is the most important thing, and you have to connect it with development disorders. Let me take little water. So development skills. Why? So development disorders are there. Autism. Then comes Down syndrome. All this, if possible, I will cover, or at least you remember when I talk all this. So when that is not there, to 1 lakh, 6,000 people are born with some disability. So to such children, this skill will not happen. And when there is all promotion, that is, the children are promoted to the next class without proper assessment, what will happen? This mastery of culturally and academically relevant skill will not take place. So now you think what will happen in 13 to 19. So let us see next thing. So you have to connect it with the Freudian theory also later. So see 18 to 45. Sorry. Very sorry. 12 to 18. 6 to 12 we studied. 12 to 18, identity versus role confusion according to Erickson, because it is a, see, I repeat, I mentioned it in the last class, that is, there are three important theories connecting each other. Without connecting each other, you cannot grasp things. One is psychosexual theory of Freud. Then Erickson's theory, psychosocial theory. Erickson's theory is psychosocial theory. This psychosocial theory is full zero. That means on birth, ex utero to death. Whereas in Freudian theory, it is only 0 to 18. In Piaget's theory also, it's only 0 to 18. This is the full strength, full length. So, if you want more knowledge in it, you can Google the school of thought of Freudian development theory, as well as all these theories. Erickson is full given, but there are certain extensions, as well as Freud in this, and again in Piaget's theory. These are all necessary because there are older theories. These extensions are there, but you have to study only up to here as per syllabus. So 12 to 18, here it is identity versus role confusion. When we study Freudian theory, we will come to know heterosexual, because that is psychosexual theory. We will study in the next class, last class. So 12 to 18, here it is identity versus role confusion. Say, what am I? Where I stand now? Where should I reach? Definition of self. This is again, you may wonder what is happening in 12, 18 year, just a plus 2. See, this is an international theory. International theory certainly says what it says, international standards. Actually, we also have to think about it. You can now understand when I state that by 14, 15, 16 age period, developed nations, children are asked to do part-time job. So identity versus role confusion is a condition provided you start working, or in Indian standards, decide on a career. That is why you yourself, students may wonder, sir, how it is possible till 12 to 8 standard, 18, we do not know, with such population in India, we cannot study to the expected level. Every condition I agree. But theory is theory. Whether a child is able to decide on till 18, because in before reaching plus 2, that is after 10th, to decide on whether you should take which group, science group, maths group, or biomaths, or to social. Here what happens, since there is no mark, though we wish to study science, we did not get admission, we went for arts. You know what happens. You may end up in a condition called a role confusion in future. Definition of self, I didn't like this job, I should have studied something else. At least this career guidance, and nowadays it is there, Venkataraman, all these are giving internationally, known people are giving a lot of career guidance to you. This is again very, very important to know the identity versus role confusion. What type of work I should do in the job, the difference between job and career. If you define that, you will be clear about it. Uh, Anyone of you can differentiate between job and career? Please tell me. We are short of time. Please. What exactly the difference between job and career? Can anybody say the difference between job and career? Without that, you cannot understand
Job,
what. Huh?
job what actually received. Career means we want to develop my uh, ambitions.
Okay, let us define the different way. Job is for bread. All job have dignity. But what happens even within this group? Ask yourself. That is, people might curse. Oh, I have to go for this dirty job which I didn't like. It happened to many, many hundreds of people, especially in a nation with unemployment. Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
Exactly, true.
Yes.
That means you have to choose a job, yeah, as a career. The more and more you do, it becomes a devotion to you. It becomes a meditation to you. The more and more you do, you like it. So that is why we say take up a vocation. So decide on this 12 to 18. So identity versus role. Confusion is very clear because every concept, one full day material is there to teach. But within the limitation, I can only give you a guidance, rest you study. So identity versus role confusion. So even as a psychologist, psychologists are also career guidance. So if you are not fit to that career compared to the job that you are doing, take up a vocation, including psychologist vocation, clarify or make it clear what is to be your role. Hope you are clear about it. Are you clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, 18 to 45, young adulthood, intimacy versus isolation. Now you can think about what happens after 18 to 45. This is a very, very crucial and important period, in particular to female, naturally to all. You know, 18 to 45 means intimacy versus isolation. That is building intimate relationships, establishing of relationships, intimacy. Why? Because you get married, you have children, you get into another family, that social connection, community connection, all this so vibrant the period between 18 to 45. You get job, organizational relation, the uh, the cohesion, the attachment, everything that you are having with an organization, the different family, spouses family, and the society, all this so intimate relation, including romantic, physical, all this relation, establishment of all meaningful relation. That is what Erickson is saying. Establishment of all, each and every meaningful relation. That is what is meant by Erickson's theory. In so vibrant it is, and it is more particular. It is more particular in the case of female. Why? Because by the time their hormonal imbalance also takes place in the female, menopause, etc. So such a beautiful period you have to build, and you just go back to you just go back to your previous period. See, 12, 6 to 12. Why I am connecting this and why I am taking this much time to make you understand is that 6 to 12 is a condition called mastery of culturally and academically relevant skills. So in the Indian condition, as many of you, at least you could you could get some job, you could reach to into Indira Gandhi University to take up a prestigious PG degree, everything. But there are also people who could not have entered into, even might have ended up with a plus two. When you do counseling, the purpose is not only your development, the development of your clients. Am I right? Just tell me, is it your own development or only, or the development of the client that you are going to do in the future? Is it
Development of client counseling.
clients? So maybe a client who is only just a 10th standard or 12th standard. Yes. If so, at that time, lot of burdens. See, development psychology you can study only with the practical sense. So what happens? That person ended up with plus two or 10th, could not take up any career, maybe doing monotonous job, etc. But entered into marriage, having children, going for job, no chance. Just for the study. Here, that is why Erickson called it as a stage of reliving in 18 to 45. Why? Because in 18 to 45, a person is entering to different relations, spouse relation, family, job, etc., etc. 12 to 18, that person could not do it properly. Now, 6 to 12, you have to understand, you have to listen carefully. You can ask a doubt, and then only will be clear. When a person, if from taking your own experience, when you have children of 6 to 12, what will be your age? What was your age, or what will be your age? When a person is having children of 12 year, 10, 12 year, what will be your age? Or what was your age? Hmm?
35.
35. That means 18 to 45 bracket. See, the theory is very clear. It is 18 to 45 brackets, isn't it? 18 to 45 bracket. So that is why he said it is a period of reliving, because a person who could not take up studies properly, it is the duty of, that is why your counseling requirements, your duty is to see that their children or your children, does the child does beautiful 6 to 12. When 6 to 12, your period is 35 before 45 or by 45. You have to see that 6 to 12 is beautifully achieved by your children, if not you or your client. Did you get it? Because in online, we have certain limitation, but we have to teach you. Did you get that? A client is coming to you. Yes. A client is coming to you. A client could not achieve all this period properly, 12 to 18 and all that. Well, actually, he got married, had children. But he must concentrate now. Maybe if he can take up studies, well and good. But it's not comfortable. He has to concentrate on his children and establish mastery of culturally and academically relevant skills in the child, so that the 12 to, that means the 12 to 18 period of the child will be perfectly all right. Then on, the parents can think of reliving 18 to 45, reliving. So they can take a vocation. They can think of shifting the job to a career. It's possible. It is very much possible. That is the importance of this talent, not simply by writing for the examination, passing the mark. That is not the relevance. Now, 18 to 45, young adulthood, I told you, building of establishing of a meaningful relationship. Now comes 45 to 65. That's called middle adulthood. Generativity versus stagnation. That means whether you can do something to society, because till 45, your children have to grow, they have to find some career, you'll be very struggling with money, everything. But when you get established, the children, in the proper career and all that, you can relax. That is a span of 45 to 65. Maybe at 55, or by at the time of retirement. By retirement, you can be generative to society, or you will be stagnated. So in detail, I can take one day, but sorry, we have limited time. Now, 65 plus, late adulthood, integrity versus despair. When you evaluate your life, you can integrate everything. Yes, I have achieved. I have made that, my children have grown. It is totally for you, my dear students. It is for your clients too. Or you will be desperate. But again, you have to understand this particular condition in such a way that 65 plus is a condition. It was, this theory was established 1 century back. At that time, the life expectancy was in European countries. Yes, it has come from other countries, no, developed nations. This theory, when developed, the life expectancy was below 70. Now India, even in India or in Kerala, it is 78, around 80. All India maybe 72 and all that. But now the developed nations, the theory originated from them, it is around 90. So they have, that is why I asked you, you search the Google and try to, need not have to write in the examination because all people may not be knowing that. But you can see younger adulthood, late adulthood, oldest old, old, younger old, oldest old. That is 65 to 75, 75 to 85, rest of the life, oldest old. That is why in nations like Australia and all that, demanded the citizens to work, demanded the citizen to work till 70 and all that. Because their population is also less, population is also very less, and they are hiring people from other nations. Life expectancy is very high. Now, if you summarize this theory, you will understand the beauty of this theory. For that, you have to cooperate with me. Tell me, by what age a person is getting a stable job in India?
Between 28 to 35.
Okay, you what you said is correct. So you can round it by 30 years. Agree? By 30 years. Okay. Agree? The group agree? By 30 years, a person is establishing a job.
Yes,
Correct?
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
At what time a person is retiring?
60. 56.
56, 60.
60.
Okay, 60. We consider it 60. 60 now, central government is 60. So 30 year to 60 year, that means a person is working 30 years only. A person is working, earning, contributing to society for 30 years only. Usually, maybe doing household, etc. I'm not telling that they are not doing anything. But this is what practical application of a theory is a very, very important thing. That's why, otherwise, just teaching this stages, I may take only 10 minutes. So 30 to 60 means 30-year only a person is working. But a person is living around 80, 85 years. That means without the contract, you may talk about unemployment. Okay, what will happen if a person is working till 80 years? How others will get job? That's a different thing. Now we are talking about the macro sense, individual development. That is the stages of development of individual. Now you see, a person is working from 30 to 60, 30 years only, whereas around 50, 55 years, a person is not contributing. How a nation can develop, you have to think and decide. So the European nations, maybe because of their lack of people availability, they start working by 15, 16 years. They continue to work even at old age. People are not available. But in this case also, in our case, though we have 150 crore population, etc., it applicable to us also, whether our children start working for time, even after retirement, whether you should contribute to society, that is left to you. Now, the critical analysis of this theory, and once again, highlighting. This 65, we have worked the integrity versus despair. Now, 18 to 45, young adulthood, intimacy versus isolation. I'm repeating the screen, with a different slide. I'm repeating this portion with a different slide. Establishing meaningful relationship, physical, emotional, intellectual, intellectual even. Take up studies. See, we are proud to say that in IGNO, even at 70-year, 80-year, people used to come and study. This period of 18 to 45 is very vital. Erickson called it as a period of reliving. This is because any previous period lost can also be partially or completely brought back through better awareness of better resource. But 18 to 45, if lost physically, meaningful, irreparably, would result in achieving further relations also in poorer quality. That is why 18 to 45 is a reliving period. It's a building of best relation, romantic relation with partner relation, etc. But if that hormonal period is lost, that is, but other period you can call back. Suppose you got you lost the 6 to 12. That is academic. You can establish it again. But when it comes to 18 to 45, best hormonal period, most productive period of a person, if that is lost, it cannot be brought back. So all this theory you should take with a study with a critical analysis. Then only you must be able to contribute to society. That's why I'm taking that much interest in this particular area. You not only for your development, you have to build a career. Friend, suppose you are frustrated job, you have to take a decision which area will suit for you to build a good career. Okay, that important thing. And you for your clients. Hope you are clear. Are you clear about the importance of this theory?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
In,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
in your text, this
Yes,
is
sir.
spread over various places. That is why I made a chart and teaching you. I'll certainly share it. No problem. Now, 45 to 65 again in a different method. I am trying to help you. Middle adulthood, generativity versus stagnation, caring for others. This is something that our society wants. If possible, by 45 itself, start even before that you have to do, but you have to nurture your children. 18 to 45, the child birth, a lot of financial issues, social issues, relations, nurturing a child, building to a career. You may not get time to help the society. In the second year, you will learn Alfred Adler's theory. At that time, you will understand how a person can be healthy by contributing to the society. So generativity was stagnation, caring for others. Unless otherwise you care for others, at least before 65, at least by retirement, you must do it. At that time also you are trying to grab things, then you will never be happy according to Erickson. That is why it's called psychosocial theory. People who achieved successfully the previous period is sure of sacrificing for the society, get stagnated otherwise, might get irritable and unsocial. Because when you look back, even at 60, 65, oh, I didn't achieve anything, my children didn't achieve anything, I didn't contribute to any society, you'll be frustrated. So, Erickson, late adulthood, that is 65 plus. I told you it is changed after this theory established when the life expectancy was 70, around 70. Now it is around 90 in the Western country, developed nations. So they changed to 65 to 75, younger old, 75 to 85, old, 85 onwards, oldest old. So till 80 and all that, the government expect the people to work. Late adulthood, according to the oldest theory, of course, you have to follow this only or whatever given in the text. Integrity versus despair, life evaluation. When Erickson made this theory, life expectancy was limited to 65. Now the life expectancy is also improved. Further research extended the period to 65 to 75, younger old, 75 to 85, old, rest, oldest old. Now Colbeck's moral development theory. Okay, my dear friend, I'm just moving for 1 minute to take some water. I'll be back in 1 minute. Dear students, I am back. How did you appreciate Erickson's theory? Anybody? You're not listening.
നമ്മുടെ വളർച്ചയുടെ ഘട്ടത്തിൽ ഓരോരോ സ്റ്റേജുകൾ കൃത്യമായിട്ട് മനസ്സിലായി. അത് എവിടെയൊക്കെയാണ് കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്, ഏതൊക്കെ വാല്യൂസിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിലാണെന്നുള്ളത് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റി.
You should also know how to correct it also, isn't it?
യെസ് സർ, യെസ്.
That is why, even if you are 45 and all that, nothing to worry, you can rebuild it. That is the importance of this theory. Such a beautiful theory. That's why it's called a psychosocial theory, how to develop a society. Now, let us study the Kolbeck's moral. That is why the three questions will be there from all portions, but the most important in your practice will be Erik Erickson's psychosocial theory. Then comes a Freud's development theory. That is why Freud's development theory, that Freudian theory, I was not expected to teach you in development psychology because it is a part of your MPC 3. But I taught you in the on the last day's class. Otherwise, you cannot understand the development theory when I am taking. I'll be covering it in the next Friday. So Piaget's theory also. So today I covered this beautifully. I could cover this development theory of Erik Erikson, not alone depending on your own text, but from the school of thought. Now, Kolbeck's theory. It's called Kolbeck's theory of moral development. I mean, decision of right or wrong. That as mentioned here, right or wrong. This will go in a slow pace only, because other one, it was very interesting. This is also interesting, but establishment of this theory in all cultures may not work. The other one, even if the psychosocial development theory, though not established in underdeveloped nations, you have to establish it. No doubt, you establish it. Then only good career, happy ending of the life. That is, in utero we studied right from zygote. The fusion of male and female egg and sperm into a cell zygote. From there onwards, the development we did, I'll be ending it with the death only. So don't have to worry about that. That's my duty. So now, Kolbeck's theory of moral development is the gradual development of an individual's concept of right or wrong, conscious, religious values, social attitudes, and certain behavior. So it is a little difficult to understand this theory, but you have to study because for examination will be asked. The other one is more established. This theory is a stage theory. In other words, everyone goes through the stages sequentially without skipping any stage. So the other one, we are sure, in the study itself, it was sure that there is a chance to skip the stages. 6 to 12, academic and socialization. Most even we, including myself or the students in this class, would have skipped. But there is a solution. Rebuilding. But here it is concrete that you cannot skip. You cannot skip according to this theory. That is the criticism of this theory also. This, because sometimes there could be question, compare this theory and that theory. At that time you must be able to understand the flexibility of one theory, the non-flexibility of the other theory. This theory is a stage theory. In other words, everyone goes through the stages sequentially without skipping any stage. However, movement through these stages are not natural. It is that is, people do not automatically move from one stage to the next as they mature. In stage development, movement occurs when a person notices inadequacies in his or her present way of coping or adaptation with a given moral dilemma. This is the most important thing. Let us discuss 5 minutes on this blue colored portion. I'm reading it again. Then only you can grasp this theory. Other portion, even if I am fast, no problem. However, movement through this, because it is going to, from this first line itself, you are very clear that they are going to discuss few stages like in other theory. But what it says, the movement is not natural. However, movement through these stages are not natural. That is, people do not automatically move from one stage to the next as they mature. In stage development, movement occurs when a person notices inadequacies in his or her present way of coping with a given moral dilemma. That means when there is a coping problem, the person has to notice inadequacy. Question is very clear. Will the person notice the inadequacy? No, goes unnoticed. That is why when people grow, maybe within this group, after studying this theory, memory, learning, many things we worked, you would have thought, you might be thinking, am I not right? Oh, we should have studied this theory in the 10th standard. I could have memorized things in a better way. I could have chosen a better career. Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
That is true. You are laughing. That means it is true. We should have learned it. So the such inadequacies, how will you know? Now only you know the inadequacy. At least now you got a chance to learn the inadequacy. So right solution is also there. To your clients also, you can. But how they will notice inadequacy, how they will accept your suggestions, I'm not sure. So I'm reading it once again, then I'll proceed. However, movement through these stages are not natural. That is, people do not automatically move from one stage to next as they mature. In stage development, movement occurs when a person notices inadequacies in his or her present way of coping with a given moral dilemma. The moral dilemma. We'll study what is moral dilemma. According to stage theory, people cannot understand moral reasoning more than one stage ahead of their own. For example, a person in stage 1 can understand stage 2 reasoning, but nothing beyond that. These are all the limitations of this theory. A child can also be taught about old age. What is wrong? Child means after teenage and all that. Through observe, that is why in social, I'm begging or repeating, my dear students, once again, unless otherwise you study each and every word, terminology, concept, no meaning in studying psychology. At least you study the concepts given very well in social psychology also. In social psychology, it is very well given the understanding. Respect cannot understand moral reasoning more than one stage ahead of their own. So it is possible through which learning? Observational learning. That is why a person in a tribe observes and learns many things. At least some people become very bold, vigilant, and come up into life. Maybe when people are cuddled unwantedly, unnecessarily, pampered and spoiled, they cannot understand. So there is an important thing in observational learning. So this theory lack observational learning. So when I read, you'll understand. According to this stage theory, people cannot understand moral reasoning more than one stage ahead of their own. For example, a person in stage 1 can understand stage 2 reasoning, but nothing beyond that. No, if you are put to, that is why Piaget say, through observation and old age person's maturity can also be achieved. So when criticism comes, you link it, you also Google, study more and more things. Now, stage 1, obedience and punishment, especially common in young children, but adults are capable of expressing this type of reasoning. At this stage, children see rules as fixed and absolute. Now, I recall those who attended the class only, I can help. In the first class, I taught you two learning theory. One is Pavlovian theory, the other one, two, is Skinnerian theory. Reinforcement, punishment, motivation, and punishment. Negative reinforcement and positive reinforcement. So, why I taught you this? Without teaching that, I cannot explain this. That is why. Again, Freudian theory, unless otherwise I taught that, I cannot make you understand what is anal oral stages, phallic and all. So I'll read once again. Then only you can understand. That's why this will go in a slow pace only, or you cannot understand. Just reading, you cannot understand. Discussion is necessary. Especially common in young children, but adults are capable of expressing this type of reasoning. At this stage, children see rules as fixed and absolute. It is true to a great extent observational learning as well as Pavlovian learning and punishment obeys rules in order to avoid punishment. Determines a sense of right and wrong by what is punished and what is not punished. Yes, we learn things. So I taught you what punishment or appreciation is not by its own. The examples. Can you recall the example? Why a person is hanged in Indian society or killed in Indian society? Those who kill. Why a person is hanged or killed if he doesn't kill? That example, if you attended, you recall. So these are all the thing, wrong and right. So it depends on not alone the activity the person is doing, but how your activity is observed by, evaluated by the other person. Depends on that. I told you the case of female. One female accepts, other female didn't accept. Same activity of a gent. So these are all depending on the society. So obeys, second one, obeys superior authority and allows that authority to make the rules, especially if that authority has a power to inflict pain. This theory from which part? Skinnerian theory. If you remember, Skinnerian theory. He is responsible to rules that will affect his physical well-being. So all Skinnerian theory. That is why theory was taught. We expect all the students attend in all classes. Then only you can understand. So stage 1, obedience and punishment. It's all based on the theories. His theory is based on established other theories. Stage 2, naively egoistical. At this stage of moral development, children account for individual points of view and judge actions based on how they serve individual needs. Reciprocity is possible, but only if it serves one's own interest. Very, very complicated to understand. Reciprocity means you do some reward to me, some benefit to me, I must respond to it positively. That is reciprocity. Now you try to understand reciprocity. That is why the word meaning, if you do not know, you cannot understand. Reciprocity means you do something good to me. Naturally, it is in my mind. I must respond by giving something favorable to you. At this stage of moral development, that is 0 to 9 years. Pre-conventional morality, 0 to 9 years. The other one also. At this stage of moral development, children account for individual points of view and judge actions based on how they serve individual needs. So when individual needs are there, reciprocity is there. Only if it serves own interests. Here is a problem, especially the teachers, etc., will notice. A child in a classroom, if the teacher is favoring a child, what will happen? If a child punish a child, what will happen? So reciprocity means if my own interests are protected, I support that person. It is on the part of the child in particular. Some children like the teacher because teacher gives a positive attitude. Other children, another teacher scolds, punish. So it's a very, very important thing, 0 to 9 years. 0 to 9 years within household. What is the importance of 0 to 9 years? No. I just compared it to school. It happens in the older age also. 0 to 9 year, when we study Piaget's theory, it is called object permanence. That means till that period, 0 to 9 months. Start from 0 to 9 months to 9 years also. This pre-conventional morality is there. Why means The personality, don't get confused. I told you, psychology is holistic. Piaget is telling object permanence is 9 months. Personality theory established that by 9 months, personality get developed in a child. So 0 to 9 years is a condition. By 9 months onwards, the morality, the child has got a personality even at the age of 9 months. So it's 0 to 9 years. If we better take 9 months to 9 years, it's better to understand. Because 0 means a child cannot understand. So 9 months to 9 years is easy to understand. When you write 0 to 9 years. So reciprocity is possible, but only if it serves one's own interest. Here, it is you for your references. It is better to study Indian psychology also. Anybody know Indian psychology? It is Patanjali Yoga. Indian psychology. It is called this Ashtanga Yoga. It's clearly written, this morality. Sukha, in Sanskrit, Sukha Anushayi Raga, Dukha Anushayi Dvesha. This is its own interest. One's own interest. Written 6,000 years ago. This written, Patanjali Yoga Sutra is written 6,000 years ago in Sanskrit. Sukha Anushayi Raga, Dukha Anushayi Dvesha. If you give comfort to another person, he likes you. If you discomfort a person, he dislike you, hurt you, punish you. So, negative and positive reinforcement. In one's own interest, serving, reciprocity is there. Otherwise, reciprocity will also be negative. Is motivated by vengeance or an eye for an eye philosophy. Very, very important, my dear students, this theory. Unless otherwise, the moral principles are taught in such a way that I can only love others. If every child is taught in such a way that only love alone will come out of my thoughts. Only love alone will come out of my thoughts. The eye for eye, teeth for teeth principle, this way of thinking will not be there in society. How beautiful this theory also is. What I told you, it's very difficult to understand when compared to other theory. So it's motivated by vengeance or by an eye for an eye philosophy. So good moral thoughts, sharing principle, sharing is very, very important among children. Otherwise you taught sharing, what will happen? Vengeance will come. That particular word is very meaningful. Vengeance. He is self-absorbed while assuming that he or she is generous. Believes in equal sharing, in that everyone gets the same regardless of need. Believes that the end justifies the means. Will do a favor only when get a favor. Expects to be rewarded for every non-selfish deed he does. Please try to understand how beautiful is this theory. Unless otherwise you read and understand, you will not know the importance of morality, how to nurture a child on moral principles. This is the importance of this theory. Please learn it. So I will read it once again. At this stage of moral development, children account for individual points of view and judge actions based on how they serve individual needs. Reciprocity is possible, but only if it serves one's own interest. He is motivated by vengeance. Whether it will welcome or not, you will not welcome. I know. So nurturing is important. Is self-absorbed while assuming that he is generous. Believes in equal sharing. Whether I need it or not, whether I really need it or not is different. I should get that part. So all these are important. Now, next stage. Stage 3. Good boy, good girl orientation. This stage of moral development is focused on living up to social expectations and roles. See, age 10 to 15 years. You correlate this period with other theory, you will understand better. This stage of moral development is focused on living up to social expectations and roles. There is an emphasis on conformity. Again, the conform. the exact matching, being nice, and consideration how choices influence relationship. So good boy, good girl orientation, how far it is good, how far it is not good, you should understand the conventional morality, especially when the girl girl children are exploited in the society. Good girl, good boy orientation is to be reworked. Finds peer approval as very important. Peer approval is very important. Feels that intentions are as important as deeds and expects others to accept intentions or promises in place of deeds. Begins to put himself or herself in another's shoes and think from another perspective. It's very, very important, my dear children. When you nurture a child should be taught in such a way that where you should say no, you must be in a position to say no. Otherwise, good girl, good boy orientation may spoil the person. Trying to fit into others' shoe, no, you should not do it. Your capacity, your traits, all these things, your freedom, all are important. So when you read it again, that's why this theory need a lot more explanation. Good boy, good girl orientation, how far it is good. This stage of moral development is focused on living up to social expectations and roles. There is an emphasis on conformity being nice. No, it cannot be nice every time, especially in this society. And consideration of how choices influence relationship. Finds peer approval very important. Peer approval is important, but for especially 10 to 15, our teenage, 13 to 19. So drinks, children are exposed. Sexual harassment. You will learn more about sexual harassment when we study Freud's development theory. So feels that intentions are as important as deeds and expects other to accept intentions or promise in place of deeds. You want appreciation. Begin to put himself as other shoe. Don't train the child in that way. It's a problem. Now comes level 3, post conventional morality, 16 plus. That is, in our stage, 16 plus means 18 to 45. So, legalistic social contract. At this stage, people begin to account for the differing values, opinions, and beliefs of other people. Rules of law are important for maintaining a society, but members of society should agree upon these standards. Very difficult to understand. Let us discuss this. At this stage, people begin to account for differing values, opinions, and beliefs of other people. Rebellion. The children of 16, teenage, middle of almost teenage, 16 plus. The children may revolt with the parents. What happens at this period? When we study 18 to 45, when a child is in the 16, the parents are, please try to understand, otherwise those who leave the class will lose this. You imagine your child at the age of 16, usually the mother's age is almost 40, between 40 and 45. Mother is experiencing menopause, irritation. Mother is experiencing irritation, lot of hormonal issues. The child of 16 years is having a surge of hormones. Quite natural that there is a revolt. And even fathers, they are struggling to join the two ends of expense and revenue. So, when you read, you should understand. It's counseling understood is study a theory systematically, scientifically. You cannot find a solution. Mothers are coming. My child, I used to feed the child by my hand. I used to feed my child by hand till yesterday. 12 year, 13 year and all that. Mother was cuddling. Mother was expecting the child to wear her shoes. But suddenly, the child is wearing, by 16, 15, 16, child is wearing dresses acceptable to society of the peers and friends. Mother, because surge in the hormone. What happens to the mother? Just opposite. Menopause, hormonal issues. Now you read this, it will be clear. At this stage, people begin to account for the differing values, opinions, and beliefs of other people. Rules of law are important for maintaining a society, but members of society should agree upon these standards. Here, the parents come and complain. I was feeding my child by hand. Now, the child is not talking to me, coming late, viewing lot of videos. Did you not experience this, especially the female members of the society in this class? Did you experience this? No one. Yes. You should understand.
No, sir.
You have not experienced it.
No, sir.
Yes, many other people. Usually it is there in our practice. We have experienced it. Many mothers come and complain. My child was not like this. Now she has deviated because 16 plus. So he is motivated by the belief in the greatest amount of good for the greatest member of the good of the greatest member of the people of their group. Their peers are wearing that. They are spending a lot of money. My mother is not. My parents are not having money, but the child's need remains the same. Believes in consensus. Everyone agree. See, all the class, everyone agrees that I can go for a one day tour or 2 day tour. My parents are not permitting. This is a clash. This clash is because the consensus. That is why in today's world, this moral, post-conventional morality is very, very important. If you read newspaper, if you watch the TV, what happens? The teenage drug transport, drug carrier. Are you not seeing in the TV and all that? Are you not?
Yes, sir.
This is exactly consensus. Everyone agrees. I need money. Parents are not giving. I must make money. Let I be a career. This is the period. So, my dear friends, I am sticking to this slide alone. It's a very, very critical period. Very, very critical period today. Maybe this theory is written in other developed nations or during that period. That may be a problem in that nation. But this is very, very valid in our society today. Is motivated by the belief in the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. They see only that. Their student is not studying for +2. Why should I study this? They make a comparison. Who was Ambani? Ambani didn't study till 8th standard only studied. He was a petrol pump dispenser. He became the millionaire, the richest person in India. Rajinikanth was a bus conductor. He became crorepati. Why should I study? Why not I choose that? Because they see the success of very few people. The failure of many hundreds, they don't see. This is the condition of post-conventional morality 16 plus. All these should come to your mind when you take up a client. Rekha, are you clear now?
Yes, sir.
It's important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is what you should understand. See, it's not that you didn't experience. Maybe your family is running fortunately, but it is happening in the society. It's a theory for the society. So beliefs in consensus. Everyone agrees. See, everyone, they see only the success people. They don't see the failures in the life. So they don't study. They skip the plus two. So respects the rights of the minority, especially the right of the individual. So respects the rights of the minority, especially the right of the individual. So that's one. Post-conventional morality discusses both sides, positive side as well as negative side. Believes that change in the law is possible, but only through the system. So two positive things are there, two negative things are there. So all these are equally relevant. Now, social contract 16 plus continues. At this stage, people begin to account for differing value, opinions, and beliefs of other people. Rules of law are important for maintaining a society, but members of society should agree upon these standards. This is the importance of universal code. I'm not talking about the religious matters, universal code on education. Our education system is in the concurrent list. In every state can have their own educational packages. Unfortunately, this is a big problem in our country too. It is necessary. I'm not talking about other negatives of that. Let's talk about positives. 6 to 12 we studied in the other theory, academics and socialization. My question is whether a person in the 12th standard pass out with sufficient knowledge or not. It is up to you to decide. I'm not discussing, it is not a platform for this. This is a very important thing. You read this sentence again, you will know. At this stage, people begin to account for differing value, opinions, and beliefs of other people. Rules of law are important for maintaining a society, but members of the society should agree upon the standards. For that, there should be a universal education system, a quality control, knowledge-based, value-based education system for every citizen in India during this period from 0 to 18 years. But it is not taking place. That is why you study this theory when you become teachers, when you become work in politics, when you become in social gatherings. It's your duty to highlight. Unless there is a good education system, not the paper certificate, the real knowledge is given to the people, this post-conventional morality will work. How do you think otherwise? You can discuss. How do you think otherwise will happen? Because education is only in the syllabus. It is not shared to the brain, cognition of the people. Can you expect that quality of education? Answer me. Can you expect the quality of education if only paper certificate is given or the actual knowledge is to be shared or not? Tell me.
No, we cannot.
You cannot. That is the importance of this theory. Our education is a concurrent list, so we have no right to question. So the question is whether this knowledge is to be shared, inculcated in the brain of the people. Then only a society with the knowledge. This is the importance of this theory. This theory is very great, but whether you share the knowledge, impart the knowledge in the children, society will be good. But if you taken it for granted, sorry, this theory won't work. It's motivated by the belief in the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. If you want to study more about this theory, you have to search the school of thought. Then you will get all the answers I'm discussing. Believes in consensus. Everyone agrees, rather than majority of people believes the system. So now, universal ethical principles. Kolbeck final level of moral reasoning is based upon universal ethical principles and abstract reasoning. Abstract reasoning is a condition that we will study in Piaget's theory, the clear reason. At this stage, people follow these internalized principles of justice, even if they conflict with the laws and rules. See, in the same 16 plus, the final level of moral reasoning is based upon universal ethical principles and abstract reasoning. Abstract reasoning is clear reasoning. If that knowledge can be imparted at this stage, people follow this internalized principles of justice. No issues, he says, provided you give very good knowledge. Slowly, people through interaction will come to know whether you should follow. That is why developed nations like Japan and all that, there's no corruption. Why this corruption is not there? These laws and rules are acceptable to them. Believes that there are high moral principles than those represented by social rules and customs. Moral principle is very, very important. He is willing to accept the consequences for disobedience of the social rule is rejected. Believes that dignity of humanity is sacred and that all humans have value. See how beautiful the theory is. It's closely related to Erickson's theory. That is why I clubbed this theory too. This theory I clubbed with that of Erickson's theory because it has got lot of connections. This is also equally good, but only through best education, best observation learning. You will study more about observation learning in social psychology. Attitude formation. It's called attitude means in Sanskrit or Malayalam, it's manobhavam. This manobhavam or attitude can be created through education and also through observation learning. So this I will just mention the story because I don't have time and I'm tired also. The Haynes dilemma. Just to read it, I will tell you the story. A person who is stealing a medicine from a medical shop. This is asked in the examination in a different way. A person is stealing a medicine worth so many dollars. He didn't have money, but he steals it. And his wife got cured. On another day, he is never caught, but on another day, he make money and buy 2 units and replace in the shop. Question is whether he did anything wrong. It is up to you. That is why. Up to you means you can feel it. What would you do? I'm not discussing. It's up to you. That is the importance of moral. So, that person is stealing because of he didn't have money. There was no other way and he saved. But he replaced double of that on a later day. It's all up to you for discuss. So, what are the criticisms of Kolber's theory of moral development? We have already discussed. I will only read it. Does moral reasoning necessarily lead to moral behavior? That's what. For you to measure this theory, you have to study social psychology, attitude formation, etc. Then it will be clear. Kohlberg's theory is concerned with moral thinking, but there is a big difference between knowing what ought to be done versus actual actions. That's what. Very, very important thing. Please listen it from me. When you study social psychology, we will learn how a behavior is developed through action. I'm just telling an example. Today's generation, or we expect all the generations, after getting a government job through test, interview, etc., there are young people who decide, I will never accept bribes. Just to make you understand only, I'm telling this, otherwise you cannot understand this. He is in an office, some X or Y office, maybe a registered office, where bribe is not given as a bribe, but for the sake of happiness, for the things done. And somebody collects it, and only for the purpose, my dear friends, students, only for the purpose of understanding this, how your actions can change the behavior. And share is given. It's example only I am telling, or a hypothetical thing. Believe that it's not happening. It's hypothetically I am telling. So a collection is taking, and per head some amount is given. The person who is so morally built servant, government servant, says, sorry sir, I cannot accept it. The other person already comes, see, this is not a bribe. People give out of, for having done their, having achieved their task. They are giving for out of happiness. Even if you don't want, keep it with you. Give it to somebody who really need it as help. Don't think that it's a bribe. Why can't you give this to somebody who is in need of it? Okay, you don't touch it. What will happen? In social psychology, you have to study the case study. If you read a very good books of three people written, I will share it in the WhatsApp group, etc. later, that book, where case study is that later on, after 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, the person will not take leave because he may not get his portion. So now you read the sentence. Does moral reasoning necessarily lead to moral behavior? Kolbe's theory is concerned with the moral thinking, but there is a big difference between knowing what we ought to do versus actual actions. Is justice the only aspect of moral reasoning? Should we consider? Critics have pointed out that Kolbe's theory, moral development, overemphasize the concept as justice when making moral choices. Other factors such as compassion, caring, and other interpersonal feeling may play an important part in moral reasoning. This also you will study in social psychology. For example, a person he is shouting against a SUV car. That is example in social psychology. But at a moment when his own closest friend is buying an XUV car, he do not open his mouth because he may lose the friendship. These are all happening in our society. That is why this criticism is there. Does Kolbeck's theory overemphasize Western philosophy? Individualistic cultures emphasize personal rights, while collectivist cultures stress on importance of society and community. Eastern cultures may have different moral outlooks. Kolbeck's theory is not universal according to this. So, for the following moral dilemma, describe a response. Is over with this next slide, which might be given by someone in each of the first 4 stages of Kolbeck's theory. Jill goes shopping one day with her best friend Sujata. Sujata tries on a jumper and walks out of the shop wearing it under her jacket. Jill is left to face the store's security person who insists that Jill names Sujata and gives Sujata's address. The manager of the store tells Jill she will be in serious trouble if she does not disclose Sujata's name and address. What will Jill do? So, these are again leaving to you like in the other story. There are influences of friendship like in XUV car. It really happens. So the next one is the first slide. It's arranged in such a way, self-actualization. When you do this self-actualization based on these theories, you should also study a theory on Maslow. As I lack time to complete this, 6:52. I will cover this in next one and compare to make you understand what exactly is self-actualization when compared to the theory of Kolbeck, moral principles, as well as when compared to well-established theory. You have to study 2 more theory, this one, as well as in MPC 3, Carl Rogers theory. So thank you very much. Let me leave.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.